Did you know Albert Einstein, the genius who redefined our understanding of the universe, was actually a bit of a rebel in his youth? And that famous story about him failing math, it's a complete myth. In fact, he was a math prodigy. But the truth is far more interesting than the fiction. Let's dive into the story of the misunderstood genius, Albert Einstein. Born in 1879 in Germany, young Albert wasn't a fan of the strict, rote-learning style of his school. He was curious, imaginative, and preferred to learn by questioning everything. His teachers often found him disruptive and even told his parents he wouldn't amount to much. Imagine that. This problem student was actually just bored by a system that couldn't keep up with his brilliant mind. He even dropped out of high school at 15 to join his family in Italy, determined to educate himself his own way. After eventually finishing his schooling in Switzerland, he graduated from the prestigious Zurich Polytechnic. But even with a degree, he struggled to find a job in academia. Professors who remembered his rebellious nature weren't exactly lining up to hire him. So, the man who would later win a Nobel Prize ended up working a seemingly mundane job as a patent clerk in Bern. But this turned out to be a blessing in disguise. The patent office gave him a steady income and, more importantly, free time. Lots of it. During his lunch breaks and after hours, Einstein wasn't just daydreaming. He was conducting his now famous thought experiments. He'd imagined chasing a beam of light, or what it would be like to ride in a falling elevator. These weren't idle fantasies. They were the seeds of his revolutionary theories. Away from the rigid world of academia, his mind was free to wander and explore the biggest questions in physics. Then came 1905, his annus mirabilis, or miracle year. While still a humble patent clerk, the 26-year-old Einstein published 4 groundbreaking papers that would change science forever. He explained the photoelectric effect, which laid the foundation for quantum theory and won him the Nobel Prize. He proved the existence of atoms, and, of course, he introduced the world to his special theory of relativity and the most famous equation in history, E = mc². Think about it. One man, in 1 year, working mostly in his spare time, completely appended centuries of scientific thought. But even then, the world was slow to catch on. His ideas were so radical, so far ahead of their time, that many established physicists initially dismissed them. It took years for his theories to be tested and proven. The famous 1919 eclipse expedition, which confirmed his theory of general relativity, was what finally catapulted him to global superstar. But fame didn't change the core of who Einstein was. He remained a humble, witty, and deeply compassionate person. He was a passionate pacifist, a champion for civil rights, and used his platform to speak out against injustice. Yet, he was still misunderstood. The public saw him as this almost mythical figure with wild hair, but they often missed the humanity, the humor, and the profound philosophical depth behind the science. He was a man who loved to sail, played the violin, and had a great sense of humor, once joking, "The hardest thing to understand in the world is the income tax." So, the next time you see a picture of Einstein, remember the young rebel who hated school, the patent clerk who changed the world in his spare time, and the humanist who fought for a better world. He wasn't just a brain, he was a complex, fascinating, and often misunderstood human being who taught us that curiosity and imagination are our greatest tools. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of a genius, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that make you think. See you next time.